Okay, let's talk about cover three a little bit. Obviously, everybody's favorite coverage every year. Maybe a little bit now with man coverage. You don't see as much cover three, but I'm sure as receivers get better, as people find great man beating routes and things like that, eventually I'm sure everybody will come back around to zone coverage and likely some sort of cover three. Now, cover three stock has seen some improvements. Number one, you have the global improvements this year with zone reactions, but also there are some actually logic type of improvements, and how these zones react to routes coming into their zones are better. Now, against some of these meta looks, these compression sets, tight bunch, and things like that, I think just the default cover three is still not really well suited to defend it. But there are ways that we can make it better, really easy ways that we can make it better. So if you don't like man coverage, if you don't want to run cover two, which really isn't very good in this game, and if you're adverse to match coverage, I think this will be a good option for you. Okay, so number one, let's look at gun bunch right here with the bunch set to the field, and we will actually number one. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to just run this play as is. And we'll see the field side corner, how he plays these corner routes better this year. Previous years, he'd kind of just drift. And this year, he kind of attaches to this corner route. And, that's really hard to actually squeeze in real games. Now, if your opponent does something as simple as putting the outside wide receiver on a fade route, that will clear out that field side cornerback, and you should be able to get this corner right outside of him for a quick and easy big chunk of yards. Other things you'll see, that field side or that nickel corner in the curl flat there, he kind of just drifts. Obviously, he's not deep enough to play the corner, and tends to not really be aggressive enough underneath, and usually you can get easy 4 yards. Which obviously, isn't a lot, but, if your opponent does that over and over again, eventually you're going to have to do something like hard flats or something like that, and then it just opens up more space. So not ideal. On the back side, you also have the running back quick to the flat. Okay, that's another easy, what did I just get there? 7 or 8 yards. So right away, you're starting to see, these common hotspots that people like to throw to the flats, to either side, to the deeper sidelines. And then you can also run these verticals to get even deeper on the other sideline, right? Nobody's attaching to that guy. Nobody's covering him. Now, let's make one small change to our defense, and that is calling the play cover three buzz match. Okay, so this isn't something you'll see in a lot of formations. This is in big nickel over G. I think it's probably one of the best formations in the game now, because it's one of the few with all of the matching defenses. Okay, and it is one of the few with a buzz match where the buzzing safety is the weak safety, which is what I prefer, and we'll get into that shortly why I prefer that. So the other difference is, you'll have seam flat defenders instead of curl flat defenders. So seam flats here, seam flat here, and you're swapping the roles of the will linebacker and the weak side safety. Okay, so instead of the weak side safety or the free safety being the flat and the will being the hook, now it's the other way around. And then the other thing, the important thing, is that you're turning the match adjustment on. Okay, so mainly cover three match is set up to defend 2x2 spread, where you're playing ripple as match. For these other formations, condensed and trips and things like that, it really isn't a matching defense. It's spot drops, but there are some small differences and some legacy matching rules that are left over that we're actually going to use to our benefit, and they actually work out maybe better in this game than they did in the past. Okay, number one, let's look at the field side corner route. Okay, same adjustment right here, fading the number one to the field. Now let's watch the field side corner, who, by the way, last time we tried this, let this corner route free. Now he's actually covering that guy. Okay, so that's obviously one good thing. Now, he wasn't in the best possible position, but if you click on, you can make a play on that ball. Okay, that's nice. The other thing is the field side flat from the tight end right here. The seam flat eventually comes down pretty hard on him. He plays kind of a weird role. Like, he ends up being aggressive on that flat. It's just that he gets a little bit too preoccupied with the number two receiver. Okay, so he's delayed, but after that he comes down hard. And in some cases actually can be beneficial for you, because it will look open at the start, right here, and then your guy comes down aggressively, and it's really only 2 or 3 yards. Okay, so I don't know. It's kind of bad, kind of good. But on the weak side, you saw like before, this running back to the flat, I was able to get 7 or 8 yards. You see now the will comes down much more aggressively on that, and you'll be lucky to even get a reception. And what's good about that, it's not like you're picking hard flat where if the running back wheels off, it's a touchdown, or if he runs a seam, it's a touchdown. No, he's actually matching that. You'll see he matches that and he goes all the way up the field. And if the back is into block, he'll actually play the flat. Okay, so right away you are better to the deep sideline right here. Let's show that again. Throw that here. We can get the aggressive catch, but if we click on, there isn't much there. The flat to the field, it's kind of iffy. It's not something that your opponent will be able to hang their hat on. And the flat from the back, or really anything from the back, is taken out. And then verticals right here. The verticals, so you have this legacy matching from the weak side hook, which thankfully they haven't taken out of the game. I think maybe eventually they'll try to get that, but for now on we can use it. So he's able to actually match that route well, and he comes in a good position. Okay, so if the weak hook is the will linebacker right here, usually he's not in a good position. You can just throw it over his head anyway, but because that matching safety is coming from the roof, he's in a better position to match that. See how cleanly he matches that? And there's no, horrible throw, but there's no way you'd ever be able to complete that. Okay, pretty good, right? So like you can bank on this seam flat, you can bank on this other seam flat to protect the running back, you can bank on this weak side hook to protect those deep over routes, which people really like to run. You can bank on this corner to defend those corner routes. And then really what I would suggest is just using the strong side hook and just being in this area, right? People like to throw sometimes quick hitches or little seam routes, or even the running back coming over this area. So this is your area. You're just going to go ahead and play that strong hook. You can maybe get a little bit complicated with it, because if you get a wheel or something like that from either side, it can take the seam flats away. And then if you have a drag coming into that seam flat zone, he won't be in there. Okay, so you can, if you want to take this to the next level, start matching shallow crossers with this hook curl. But if you want to you can just feel free to play this hook area. Definitely wall off any quick seam routes or anything like that. And I think you should be good. Now, one important thing to note, if they're running flood into the boundary, whichever version of cover 3 you're running, that will be able to clear out that corner, and now this corner route is open again. Luckily, we have the adjustment that we can put that guy on an outside quarter. Okay, so this outside quarter, this isn't like a real matching quarter, okay? It's just that he doesn't get pushed away. He doesn't get cleared out by this outside fade, and he'll be able to sit on that corner route and again, make a play on that. Now, okay, so there's quite a lot to this. But if you notice there, and let's do this again, outside quarter on that guy, the flat was covered and the corner was covered, but this streak route obviously wasn't. Okay, so that in that case, you might want to look into matching that guy yourself, or maybe manning up one of your other guys and then replacing in the flat zone or something like that. So watch out for that. Yeah, there isn't much to say to that. So if the trips or the bunches to the boundary, change your guy to an outside quarter to defend against that corner route, and just be wary of that that wide receiver running on a streak. But I don't see flood into the boundary too often. And then the other things, whether it's to the field or to the boundary, this deep over route will get covered. So you can bank on that, unless you're not there to make a play on it. Okay, where I also like this play, this cover 3 buzz match, or really at this point it could even just be cover 3 match. It doesn't matter if you're buzzing or not. This guy was really just there for that deep over route and bunch. But in this case, you could run just any sort of cover 3 match, or even really any cover 3. But I do like the behavior of the seam flats more than the curl flats. But it does a great job at all defending all of these different smash and flood concepts from compression. Okay, so in years past, this used to be really annoying on the left right here because this corner route would get in between, deep zones and flat zones. No match could defend it one-on-one. And this year, the improvements they've done to cover 3, that corner does such a better job of playing that. And I won't show it here, but when you're running cover 3 on default, it is actually a little bit of different behavior, and you can actually squeeze that ball in still. But against cover 3 match, with the match adjustment on, there's no logic behind this. It's not like, okay, it's playing this better because it's match. It just happens to be better. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Now, something that you might see people do is clear out. Okay, so if they clear out that corner, now the corner route will get open right there. Okay, but just like with the bunch flood to the boundary or sail to the boundary, you can put that boundary corner into an outside quarter. Okay, so now, he's still going to play smash well. Okay, play smash really, really well. You just need to click on that yourself. I can't do that with 4 hands. And then if they're running the corner with the clear out, that outside quarter doesn't get cleared out, which is nice. Now, in this particular case where I'm running 3 buzz match, that deep third is kind of in that area. So, he's able to kind of play this clear out route right here. Okay, so you don't really need to worry about the clear out like you did with sail on bunch to the boundary. But now let's look at the flood or the sail to the field right here. Okay, same thing. We're gonna fade this guy, and the stock outside third will be able to play this well. Okay, so just right there, he kind of comes in late, and maybe it's not amazing. But again, if you have a good zone defender, maybe a knockout ability, maybe a click on, it should be fine anyway. But if you really want to, be good on that, you can hot route him to an outside quarter as well. So what I would suggest, the way I do it is that I only hot route the boundary corner, but you could in premise do both. Okay, so I can in premise do both and make sure I'm much harder on that corner route. Much more aggressive. So you can definitely do that. But then again, you have to keep in mind, so we were safe to the boundary, but to the field, we are definitely not safe right here because now this fade or this seamer right here will get open between the safety and the corner. So in the end, what I do, again, so I hot route the boundary corner. Sometimes if I want to be really aggressive, I'll also hot route the field corner as well. And then because the seam is wide open and the hook curl doesn't play it well, you can, and I don't have the right package on right here, but you can also hot route him to an inside quarter, or you can just straight up, man this guy. And then, if they streak the tight end, he's a little bit closer to the safety. But in the end, you kind of have quarters again. You have these, 2 outside quarters. This guy's playing either a quarter or man coverage. This guy's also playing deep, and then you have 1 hook and 2 flats. But I think it works. I think it just plays this better than cover 4 quarters or what Palms does. So then you'll be the lone hook in the middle. Again, just doing your user thing. Okay. And one more thing. Let's go flood to the boundary. So again, right here, if they're running flood to the boundary, you can clear out that outside third, and you can get this corner open pretty easily. But if you are doing what I'm suggesting here, putting the boundary corner on an outside quarter, and then make sure that flood, that clear out is protected. Now you should have the flat, the corner, and the clear out all protected against. Okay, so I hope that's useful for you guys. I know, cover 3 is, one of the most fundamental coverages out there, and they did some improvements, and we might as well add some of our own improvements on top of that. Okay, so keep those in mind. Again, remember, this has to be out of a cover 3 match with the match adjustment on, the coaching adjustment on, and then the buzz from the weak safety, particularly in big nickel over G, helps with those deep over routes from bunch. Okay, so leave a like if this was helpful to you. Okay, we're gonna keep on coming out with more videos, and again, you know, the members videos will be coming soon. I will likely do some sort of ebook related to the Chiefs playbook, which has big nickel over G, and it also has nickel 3-3, which I've been playing around with. And then I'm thinking about doing the Ravens offense, because there are a number of really interesting things there, and I want to do them both like really legit. So nothing too glitchy or you know, reliant on exploiting bugs in the game and things like that. I just want to be kind of proper in how I do it. So anything that you come up against, any changes to the game, anything, you'll be ready with kind of a fundamental base that's based off of you know, a core philosophy, and then that you can just improve your game rather than relying on certain little bugs and exploits and things like that. So that's kind of the plan. I want to go forward with it. Still need to work some things out, but within the next couple weeks or so, week or two or so, that should be ready. Okay, see you guys in the next one.